Hello and welcome to day 89 of the 365-day meditation challenge, where I challenge myself to meditate for 1 hour a day in 2 sessions of 31 minutes. This is session 2, and I want to talk a bit about the fact that some people view speed as aggression, just because if they wanted to move at that speed, the only thing that could motivate them to move so fast would be aggression, would be anger, would be kinds of emotions like that. So yeah, I cannot properly speak English because I've been doing some sports. I'm sweating profusely, but it doesn't really matter. We are not here to judge, and we are not here to really put an emphasis on the words that I'm saying. All it matters is the fact that we are doing the meditation practice. And without further ado, let's start the meditation right now. And there you go. The meditation is over. What a wonderful session this was. And I would really like to talk a bit about the fact that people don't trust you when you say to them, like, it's weird and it's a bit annoying when you tell someone, like, look, they tell you, oh, you look frustrated. And you tell them, like, no, I'm not frustrated at all. And they then say, oh, no, see, you're frustrated. And I'm like, yeah, because you are frustrating me right now. And not only that, but it's even if you deny it and you don't feel frustrated because they keep on putting this thing on you, this assumption. And it's weird, like whenever it's a why are you and then a negative emotion, it's impossible if the person doesn't really believe you that you are not feeling that emotion and they believe their assumption more than they believe you. It's practically impossible to really prove them wrong. Like, it is technically possible, but if you really want to keep your, let's say they've had that misalignment in their assumption by thinking that this way of speaking a bit louder and a bit more expansive, that means that you are frustrated or angry, or you are, I don't know, just absolutely mental. I don't know what it is, but if you tell them like, look, I do not feel that emotion, if they don't really trust you and if they trust their assumptions more than they trust what you say to them, it's a fundamental problem, because you do not have, the only way that you can prove that they are wrong is by not doing the level of energy that you are putting out there. So you have to diminish yourself, to jump through their hoop, to jump through their thing that they are putting out there, and you are trying now to prove to them that you are not that, what their assumption. And then by proving that you are not what they assume that you are, you basically are proving that you were angry. See, now you're not angry anymore because you did what I asked you to do. And I'm like, no, you should believe me when I say to you, I am not feeling that emotion, because the only way that you can really see what people are feeling is by listening, and not by listening to what they say, but what they tell you that it is they are feeling. Of course, there are people out there who are not in touch with their emotions, but for me, I'm quite in touch with my emotions, and I really know when I'm angry, when I'm frustrated, when I'm pissed, and people don't really understand that. And it's funny because I met with 4 friends today, and they all had, well, not all, but 2 of them had a totally different reaction to my level of energy as opposed to 2 other friends. So the first 2 friends, I was the same. I was talking the same. I was almost the same, with exceptions, because sometimes it was a different scenario. But the idea was that I was having the same amount of tonality. I was the same tonality, the same amount of cadence in my speech. I was speaking at the same speed. And the first 2 friends were like, oh, super nice. Someone, well, that was the reaction. What they said actually was, oh, you are so determined. You work so much. That's so fun. You're like, whoa, hyper. That's super nice. So their assumption was like, I'm hyper. I'm full of life and energy. The second friend was like, whoa, this is overwhelming. But they weren't putting it on me. They were like, oh, I'm tired. I'm drunk. Well, they weren't drunk. They were hungover. And they were like, no matter what you said, I would have said you're overwhelming because I'm a little bit hungover. And the last friend was like, oh, you're angry. Why are you like this? And I'm like, I was like this all day and nobody told me that I'm angry. And it was just because of the tonality that I used and the volume. And to prove them wrong, the only thing that I can do is tell them I'm not. If they do not believe me, I cannot prove them wrong, because if I try to prove them wrong by lowering my volume and my speed with which I'm speaking, I prove them right, because they say, oh, see, now you're not angry anymore. You were angry. I was right. And it's not about right and wrong. It's about the fact that if I tell someone, look, I'm not angry, I'm not frustrated. The idea is that if you don't believe me, you're going to start to see more and more and more of that until I do what you want. That's the whole point. And it's really frustrating. Like, you cannot really prove someone that you don't feel that emotion, because that emotion only resides in yourself. And they are judging you and your emotions by an outside view. But that's an assumption. That's a presupposition. It is not proof of anything. You can feel like, talking in front of the camera, someone can feel like they're like crapping their pants, and you cannot even tell. Like if they don't have the telltale signs that they are doing that, they can prove, they can, like for instance, me right now, I can feel a lot of anxiety. I don't, but I can. I've seen people who feel a lot of anxiety and they're like, when the camera's rolling, even if I feel that anxiety, I'm gonna speak like this and I'm gonna be like this. And no matter how good you are at reading people, you're not gonna be able to see and notice that that person has anxiety in that moment. I've talked with people like this, people in television. They were like, I'm always shitting my pants before the camera starts rolling, and until it stops rolling, I have the massive amounts of anxiety even after 2 years of doing this show. Why? Because it's a live production. I should be feeling anxiety, but you don't see it. I'm always on edge, but I use that emotion and nobody notices. They think I'm in such a good mood. I'm always smiling. I always have my words with me in the show, but deep down I feel the emotion that I feel is anxiety. All that I feel when the cameras are rolling is anxiety. So that's their reality. I'm really sorry for them, but that's what happens. So no matter how much you judge a person by the outside, the vibe that they put out, the tonality, the energy that they put out, you cannot really trust that as a good indicator of what they feel. If they tell you, I don't feel that emotion, it doesn't apply because they told you, I don't feel that emotion. Because then if you tell them, I don't believe you again and again and again, then you're telling them you don't understand your own emotions. And then it goes down and down a rabbit hole that gets deeper and deeper. And I'm like, why are we speaking then? If you don't trust me, I almost caught a beautiful mosquito. So if you don't trust them, why do you talk to them? Why do you keep this person in your life if you cannot trust them to tell you the truth? Like if they tell you, I'm not frustrated, I'm not angry, I'm not that emotion that you assume that they are feeling. Like what's the purpose? Why give them so little credit? Like first of all, you assume they are angry or frustrated or whatever. And then you assume that they don't know how to feel their own emotions. So we go down and down and down with the assumptions, with the bad assumptions. And then after that, you're like, oh, so if we go down that path, another level, we go like, oh, see, now you're denying. You're not only not in touch with your emotions, now you're denying your emotions. No, I'm only denying your assumptions. And that's the whole point. They don't understand that their assumptions is what really is at the level of this. Their trust in their own assumptions is more valuable to them than what you tell them as being truth about yourself. Like you don't have any proof that I am feeling that, because the only person who has proof about what I'm feeling is me. So you might as well trust me, because if you don't trust me, you're never going to have access to anything that has to do with my emotions, any proof or anything else except my word. There is nothing that can prove you. You can have assumptions. Nobody says that you cannot have assumptions about what someone else feels. You can deduct from what they are saying, but that doesn't mean that you know 100% that they are feeling. If they deny it and you trust their judgment and what they are feeling, you should actually trust, because then you go down this rabbit hole where you go on worse and worse and worse assumptions on the fact that now they are not in touch with their emotions, and then they are denying their emotions, and then you go like, if they deny their emotions, then see, I'm a better person than you. At least I don't deny my own emotions. I don't repress them or whatever. And then you go then, oh, see, now it's a repressed person. So you start to build from assumptions, and then you jump to conclusions by going down that bad assumptions route, especially if the person does not comply with your intentions and your desires to prove you wrong. And then if they try to prove you wrong if they try to prove you wrong by changing their demeanor, their energy, their cadence, then they prove you right. But if they continue with that behavior, they still prove you right because you are already thinking that you are right. They cannot do anything to prove you wrong because you think that you are right. And that's the whole point. How can you be right about someone else's emotions when someone else is flat out denying it? When that someone else is flat out denying it? You can't. It's an impossibility. And that's the whole point. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one. And by the next one, I mean tomorrow.